Good morning from Washington, D.C. in what is a bright red and sunny morning because it's a red wave that has swept across the United States of America coast to coast last night. Donald Trump cruising to victory. It is a massive, crushing defeat of the Democrats. Donald Trump currently leading in 276 electoral college votes. That is because three critical swing states, Michigan, Arizona, and Nevada, have not been declared by CNN. The moment they are declared, remember Donald Trump is leading in all three of them, then Donald Trump will eventually settle at 308 electoral college votes. That is an electoral tsunami. That is bigger than what Joe Biden won 4 years ago. That is bigger than what Donald Trump himself won 8 years ago. This is his biggest electoral college victory. And people here are trying to, scratch their heads and figure out how did the pollsters not see this? How did the pundits not see this coming? How did the media not pick up on this? I think there are a couple of explanations for this. This is Donald Trump's third election cycle. And consistently, the one thing that we have seen is that Trump has the most loyal base that a mainstream American politician has cultivated since Ronald Reagan. And that base turns up for him every time he needs that base to turn up for him. So they've turned up for him in 2016, they turned up for him in 2020, and they turned up for him again now in 2024. That is one critical aspect which the media and the pundits and the pollsters underestimated. If you look at the popular vote, I'll come to the Electoral College in just 1 second. If you look at the popular vote, counting is still on in some of the states, but Donald Trump has polled 71 million votes. 71 million Americans have voted for Donald Trump. Last time around, there was 73 million. It's more or less in the same ballpark as what he won last time, and in 2016, it was 69 million. So there are about 70 million Americans, give or take a few here or there, who are willing to back Donald Trump come what may. That is the number one thing. You look at the popular vote for Kamala Harris, it's just 65 million. Joe Biden 4 years ago had 81 million votes, which means there's about 16 million Democrat voters who voted for Joe Biden 4 years ago who have not voted for Kamala Harris. Either they've not shown up because they didn't like the candidate, or because they didn't like the record of Biden and Harris over the last 4 years, or they were upset with the two wars that are going on. We don't know what the reason is. Inflation, economy, illegal immigration, of course, is a huge talking point, which the Donald Trump campaign made into a single point agenda, if I may say so. On all of these issues, about 15 million Americans did not come and vote for the Democrats as they did for Joe Biden 4 years ago. Now, Donald Trump is winning the popular vote by at least 5 percentage points. Now, what does that show? That shows that it was not just a question of the battleground states, because let's face it, if these results hold and Donald Trump ends up with 308 electoral college votes, he would have won every single swing state, every single battleground state. He would have won in obviously all three of the blue wall states, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan. Michigan is yet to be called by CNN, I might add that caveat. He won in Georgia, North Carolina, and he is poised to win in both Nevada and Arizona, which again, I must add that caveat that CNN is yet to call, but he's leading in all of those states. So he would have won 7 out of 7 battleground states. Now, what does that show? It shows that this race, number one, was not close at all. Number two, there was this message from Donald Trump on issues like immigration, illegal immigration that is, on economy, on the two wars. These were issues that penetrated and resonated with American voters, irrespective of what their race was, irrespective of whether they were white or African American or Hispanic. A large number of people found that message of Donald Trump resonating with them. The Democrats, on the other hand, were simply playing, I think, overplaying the racial hand. They were simply pandering to American voters, saying that if you're African American, you have to vote for the Democrats, or if you're Hispanic, you have to vote for the Democrats. Look at the violent rhetoric that Donald Trump is using. I think Americans, through yesterday's vote, have sent out a message to the Democrats that, look, don't take our vote for granted. Don't, simply pander to our racial identities. We are more than that. The issues that affect white Americans, whether it is price rise, whether it is lack of jobs, the cost of housing, that affects every American. That affects every racial identity that an American might have. Whether you're African American or Hispanic or Asian American, this affects you as much as it affects one of your fellow Americans. So I think yesterday's vote was a clear indication to the Democrats: stop pandering to American voters simply on the basis of race. That is not just the only vote-determining issue. In fact, people are more enthused to vote on issues like immigration, on economy, on the wars, on cost of living, on cost of housing, far more than they would pander. They would be allowed by a politician to be pandered about by their race. That's number one. Number two, I think there is a critical lesson here for the Democrats that, for all the talk about turning out the vote and there was a better ground game, I heard yesterday one Democrat operative saying they made 900,000 door knocks in Philadelphia. But that is not what we are seeing. Kamala Harris has consistently underperformed Joe Biden in county after county. And it's not just amongst the minorities. She's underperformed in the white vote. She has underperformed in the white women vote, and she has underperformed in the minorities vote as well. If you look at counties in Pennsylvania, for example, which are heavy Hispanic speaking people, there again, Trump has run up numbers significantly higher than he did 4 years ago, which shows to me that on the issue of illegal immigration, for example, it is the immigrants who have the biggest problem, because they don't want to be seen as giving sanctuary, or they don't want to be seen as being painted in the same broad brushstroke as these criminal elements who are coming in. They are the ones who are most affected by those criminal elements who are coming in, because where are they living, those folks? They are living in the same neighborhoods as these legal immigrants. So I think the issue of immigration and the legal immigrants in the United States have sent out a huge message yesterday that, look, this problem of illegal immigration needs to be fixed. The broken border wall in the South needs to be fixed. Now, remember, the win yesterday for the Republicans and for Donald Trump was so encompassing that it's not just the presidency. The Republicans have now won control of the Senate. Now, that means Donald Trump can choose whoever he wants to choose in his cabinet. He can make Robert F. Kennedy Jr. the health secretary. He can make Elon Musk his friend, the secretary of controlling expenditure. He can create new cabinet posts. He can appoint ambassadors wherever he wants. He has almost a carte blanche to decide on his appointments. Look, every couple of years between the presidential election and the midterms, we have seen this. Either the Democrats or the Republicans are given control of all arms of government. They control the House, they control the Senate, and they control, of course, the presidency. So Donald Trump has about a 2-year window to execute his grand plans. He has promised the American people that he will fix it. In the final few weeks of his campaign, that was his slogan: Trump will fix it, meaning America is broken and Trump is the man to fix it. So he's got about 2 years to try and fix America's problems. The other problem for the Democrats is they went all in on the abortion issue. I think women voters yesterday have told the Democrats, don't take our votes for granted. Abortion is not the only issue that affects us. There is a whole host of issues that affects us. And just like, Americans have voted back yesterday and sent out a message that things like economy, inflation, the wars affect every American irrespective of caste, creed, race, gender, etc. I think the women also have come back and said that, look, don't take our vote for granted because you think on one issue we are upset with the Republicans, or on one issue we're upset with Donald Trump. Voters are not driven by just one issue. Voters are not single issue animals. There is a multitude of issues that appeals to them, and then they take stock and say, okay, who is better at handling all of these issues? The other thing, of course, and this is not really entirely Kamala Harris's fault, but she was not able to distance herself enough from Joe Biden's record of the last 4 years. Trump very successfully stuck her with Joe Biden's record of the last 4 years, and I think a combination of all of these factors has ensured that it is a absolute red wave, a Republican tsunami. They've won the White House. Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States. They have won control of the Senate, and they will most likely win the House as well. So which means in all three branches of government, you will see a red wave sweeping across America.